Shalom and welcome to another episode of Equis Rants, a segment here on a Black Narrative where we delve into various topics that we wouldn't often be able to deep dive into on the broadcast. And with this episode, the topic by the time it's released is more likely going to be old news, but I do think there is some interesting insights to glean from this story about our society and how society interacts with the plight of Black people. And also, this touches on our relationship with people that infiltrate us, people that abuse us, people that deny us, and how, it goes back to the whole thing of the wolf in sheep's clothing. And this story that I'm going to cover or discuss is going to be that of Samantha Foss, daughter of billionaire Donald Foss, and her speech. Now, Donald Foss, as I said, is a billionaire, specifically a white billionaire, who has a biracial daughter by the name of Samantha Foss. She's in her late teens. I think she's about 19 years old. And during his eulogy, she went ahead and made a speech berating Donald Foss for being a bigot, misogynist, xenophobic, cisgender white male. And she was discussing how she's not upset that he's dead, but she's upset that he never became what she believes he could have been. And basically, he never took on her ideologies as a feminist, quote unquote, and emphasis on quote unquote Black supremacist who identifies with they them pronouns. And this story is interesting on many levels. But the first thing that I want to kind of hone in on is the fact of her berating the father for being a bigot, a white supremacist, xenophobic, all these different things. I mean, every name in the book. And it's interesting how within this society, we very much so are focused, if not obsessed, within the Black community about these white men. We are always discussing what these white men, how they behave, how they act, how they conduct themselves, how they treat us. We're always talking about that. But my thing is, you don't get upset at a snake for biting you. You don't get upset at a wolf for chasing you down. And like, the beast is going to be what is going to be. And it was interesting how this whole entire speech was revolved around Donald Foss. But there's a very integral link that a lot of people on the left and the right are not going to discuss. Because on the right, of course, the wolves are going to discuss how disrespectful it was for her to speak that way at her father's funeral, and how, she's very privileged, all these different things that, we could touch on a bit later. But, and on the left, the Foxes are going to discuss how, basically give her a you go girl for standing up for, the progressive agenda. But what nobody is bringing up is the fact that she has a Black mother. Donald Foss was married to a Black woman, to which he had multiple kids. Samantha, I believe, is one of the youngest of the children. And so Samantha's going on this platform berating this bigot, which, I mean, he very well might have been. But nobody's talking about the fact that the Black mother, the Black woman, married a bigot. So what does that make her? But nobody's gonna bring up the black person that is in this situation. And let's give the benefit of the doubt. Let's say that he is a bigot. If that is the case, and that is something that needs to be highlighted by this young lady, then why isn't it being highlighted that her mother married and procreated and lived with a bigot for a large portion of her life? Because she grew up with the mother and the father. They had multiple children together. Why is that not being brought up? But within today's society, you're able to betray the black community, and there be no repercussion. It's not discussed whenever. And I've got to hone in on something: the idea of the protected class. Now, just because somebody is a quote unquote protected class does not mean that they have equity within the society, but it means that either they have enough power to be able to avoid certain kind of repercussions, or they have enough power in order to for there to be repercussions whenever you speak on them, or they are being utilized for a certain purpose to which that allows them to not be spoken upon. And black men do not have in this society any kind of protection. We aren't a protected class because they don't want us to have power. We're disliked by the left and the right. But the society has allowed black women to be a protected class to where you can't speak on the various things that are done and their programming, the things that they have programmed our sisters to do, because within the black community, we have been made into this androgynous kind of community where our women have the power over the men. And so white society knows how to use that in order to destroy the black community. So you have this black woman. So getting that out the way, you have this black woman that has, quote unquote, married a bigot, and all her money, her resources are going towards or are kept within this schema that the bigot has built. And nobody's going to discuss that. Nobody's going to highlight that. This young lady is not going to talk about that. But it goes to show we don't want to give accountability to those that have power within our community. We don't want to have these hard discussions about something like that. And these hard discussions are needed to be had in order for us to be able to wake up and do better. To wake up and recognize, okay, well, she was a traitor. So, okay, well, she chose her side. We shouldn't have no dealings with her, and we shouldn't expect anything from her. But this young lady just wants to focus on the white man. And my thing, because it was a brother of mine that brought this to my attention, and I was saying to him, I'm concerned about the black person in the situation. I could give a damn about the white man. I'm always concerned about what the black people in these situations are doing. I'm not concerned about the white man, his little bigotry, and that's what their system is built on. But when I see a sister was married to this white man, there's where I have the issue. And now let's transition into the next issue with the speech. What is she going to do going forward? What is Samantha going to do for the black community as a quote unquote black supremacist? What is she going to do moving forward? Because, and this isn't to say that I'm a black supremacist or nothing along those lines. Now that's a very loaded term that white people oftentimes put upon us because we have pride in being human, being, black humans. But let's play her game. right? So she's a black supremacist, and yet by the they them pronouns and the whole use of misogynistic, xenophobic, homophobic, all these different things, you could tell that she's a part of the alphabet community as well as the feminist agenda. Now, where does feminism and black supremacy overlay? At what points do they overlay? Because with the whole concept of intersectionality, it actually waters down the black plight. It actually waters down our plight so that we have to share it with various groups of people. So there is no true overlay between these two concepts. And if you are a black supremacist, then I would believe that you believe in power for the black community as a whole, which means that you believe in the supremacy of black men as well as black women. But oftentimes, these people that talk like this, you realize they're not quote unquote black supremacists. They use it to be inflammatory, but they are black women supremacists because they are feminists and they don't believe in the black family structure. They don't believe in the atomic, I'm not going to say atomic family, but the natural state of a family with a man leading the family and, you know, the order being a man, his woman, and then the children. They oftentimes do not believe that dynamic. And so how can you be a black supremacist and not adopt these various concepts? So that's to start off. But we have to hone in on the fact that she has grown up living in a $7.3 million mansion. So they're loaded. They have a good bit of money, and I imagine that she would receive a decent inheritance from the passing of Donald Foss. And she goes to a college in Brookhaven called Oglethorpe College, which is 57,000 K, or forget I said K, 57,000 a year in tuition. That is a lot. That is a lot. And as somebody that lives in the Atlanta area, I could tell you that Brookhaven is a very, very expensive and nice part of the city. It's very nice. That's not somewhere I would want to be jogging at night. They would not welcome me. So it goes to show that she's eating off of this biggest legacy. So is that money going to go into the black community? Is that money going to help stabilize us? Is that money that she has, that she's going to inherit, is it going to go towards the cause of building the black community, stabilizing us, making us independent from the white power structure? Is any of that going to occur? And if I were a betting man, I would say no. I don't really believe that's going to occur like that. So she's spewing all this about him being a bigot, him being a this, him being a that. But what does she have planned for the black community? What is she going to do to help? And so if she doesn't have a plan to help the black community, then is she any better? Because she's living off the white man's legacy. And I want to touch on this last topic, which I kind of touched on before, but is we always want the white man to be a part of our plight. Because what she was upset, one of the main things that seemed to be upsetting her, and that's why this whole entire eulogy just seemed to be a teenage fit, a tantrum, is she was upset that he did not fight for what was important to her. And how do you expect him to fight for or what's quote unquote important to her? He's an old white billionaire. The man died around 78 or something along those lines. He's from the old guard. And so why is it we always, and you constantly see it in the progressive media, they push, they want us to have extended hands to the white community. One thing that I want to drill into our people's heads is the white man and the white woman have their own community. We don't expect, like, you expect the white man and the white woman to really come to our aid. The white man and the white women are not part of the Black community. We have to stop holding them to a certain standard as if they are. You've got to recognize the nature of the beast. And so this whole entire speech really had a lot of issues. And I mean, I could give the benefit of the doubt because she is young, but I'm not. We got to stop giving whole adults such leniency, because at the end of the day, if you want to walk around, living your life as an adult and doing who knows what, then we have to start. Once you are walking in this world as an adult, and as an adult with a voice that can make an impact on the future generations, then we got to start holding you to a standard. So, yeah, there's a lot to be chewed on when it comes to this situation, but that's about it I have for today. Shalom, peace.